Hi, this is Tracy, and tonight I'm going to talk and name some of the red flags of being a narcissist. There are individual videos, I have some, and there are many, many that you can put in the search box and find more details on any one of these. And I want to start by saying that the scale of narcissist crazy is up here and down here. Everything could be something, oh yes, your person has 10, your person has 3. It doesn't mean that they are or they're not a narcissist, but it's when you add 1 plus 1 and you start to see the pattern of how many things that this person has, that should be a red flag. And very often as I talk to survivors, what we're thinking about as we look at these red flags with the new lens, the new filter, is that we just thought that these little things were just that person. You know, everybody's different, so, you know, they aren't good with money, or they had this happen to them. You almost make excuses or listen to their excuses. That's probably more it. We don't really make the excuses unless we're, you know, really out of tune, but we question, and then suddenly we find out that they've got an answer, and at that point we choose to believe them because they've convinced us in all of these steps of gaining control over us. The first one is called love bombing, and love bombing means that when you first meet them, they are texting you all the time. They are, you know, calling, and you're talking for endless hours. They might buy you a lot of flowers, not 1 dozen, but 5 dozen. They might send you little presents or do cute things. They're bombing you. Like, they're coming down and they're getting you. Rushing intimacy is the second red flag, and this is a popular thing. And the reason that they do it is they are trying to not let you have a chance to really get to know them, not take the time, not step back and analyze things. By rushing it and making you think that you are the perfect one for them, they're taking away the opportunity for you to think about it. So that is what rushing intimacy does. Being a good listener, it's number 3 on this list that I have heard. And being a good listener is something that we all want somebody to be. So it's more of a personality trait in my mind. But, you know, the reason that they are becoming a good listener and overly attentive to your needs is that they are trying to figure out everything about you to see if you're a possible supply. What was your family life like? What has been your role in life? Have you been the caregiver of your family? Great. They've got someone to take care of them. If you have been the, you know, strong and mighty fighter, they're probably going to walk away at this point because they know they can't control you. They go after people that are very kind, very loving, very giving. That is what they're hunting for when they do this discovery process. They're trying to determine if you are the kind of person looking for a family, if you are looking for, you know, a husband, if you're looking for a wife. If these are the types of things that red flags happen to in a relationship. Now, there are so many spectrums, again, of different ways a narcissist can be in anyone's life. So this is really kind of talking about the romantic thing here. They are very charming, and not all of them are, but you will find that everybody loves them and that they are just the perfect thing, particularly when they're out in public. They turn on this charm, they charm you, they just woo you. It's what they do. Mirroring. Mirroring is another red flag, and what they are doing with that is if you say that you like polka dots, they like polka dots. If you say you like the color brown, they like the color brown. If you like chocolate or vanilla ice cream, they are going to sort of make it so that everything about you that you say you like, they like too. Because now you found your soulmate, someone that likes the same, you know, green feety pajamas, who knows, right? Another red flag is when they have a lot of crazy people in their life. And this one, I don't know, I would take with like something to look at. The stories that they tell are generally not true. So if they're telling you about, you know, the crazy ex-wife, the crazy ex-husband, Everybody is crazy, 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 psycho bitch, alcoholic, lesbian, whore, whatever. This is an excessive amount of people, which means that if they're talking about this the way they were married to someone for 17 years, then that's how they're going to talk about you one day. So be careful of that. Fragmented relationships is another red flag. And what this means is they don't have a best friend, maybe. They don't have people in their life that have been there for a long time. This shows us that they have not been good people along the way. Because when you get to our age, my age, then you probably have people that have been there a while, and they won't. Poor financial management is certainly something to look out for. They can be irresponsible, borrow lots of money from you. This is one of the ways that a narcissist will use you as a supply. Are you willing to give them money? Are you willing to pay for dinners every time you go out? Because they are financially strapped, because they're gonna, ask for money anyway. So it's all part of the whole act that they're going to take your money. Hypersexuality. I don't even like to talk about this one really, because I think that it's all an act, but it's going to be the best sex of your life because you're so compatible, because they've listened, they've charmed you, and everything's perfect. So you're going to enjoy it, and it's going to be really hard to replace that when you go into your next relationship, because they made you feel so special. They have a big ego, like not a selfie taking ego thing. I just left a party and everybody was taking selfies, and they're like, well, maybe you're a narcissist, you take selfies. It's not the same thing. A big ego means that they put themselves before anyone else. So if they have $5 in their pocket, they're gonna hide it. It's for them. They don't think they have to share that, even with their own kids. Status oriented, this is another red flag, and what you might find is that they only want label brands and they want to tell everyone about it. So status oriented, they're going to hang out with and only want to hang out with the cool people or the rich people. They're going to pick their friends very carefully and surround themselves with people that bring them some kind of status by being their friend. They're always the victim. So there's no accountability in a narcissist. They're going to always tell stories where it was everyone else's fault. Their behavior never changes. This one I totally saw both of my narcissists and my mother. Their behavior never ever changes because they don't care. If they tell you, oh, I'll change, I'll be better, I'll go back to texting you 100 times a day, whatever you want, you have it, you got it. But their behavior never changes. They might get better for a little while, and then they're gonna go right downhill because that was fake. Inappropriate emotions. This one I know pretty well. And inappropriate emotions could be anything from crazy anger to crying and almost using it as a ploy to get your attention and to endear them to you. 3X used to cry all the time. And I didn't know that it was a manipulation tactic. I just thought, oh, he's so sensitive. No. Insults and put downs. If they just find little ways to jab at you, this is a bad thing. We know insulting people is like from elementary school. You learned that, but they're going to do it. They're very concerned about public image, and that is what happens later in the red flag stage of crazy, like, grand finales. They are going to be really concerned with what people think about them because they live a lie. And so it's really important for them to build up this fake persona. They get you to introspect. And when they do that, they are making you feel like he really cares, she really cares, she's getting me to think about my past or my this. But actually they're kind of steering you towards where they want you to introspect, because they don't want you to introspect to actually get well. If you are a codependent, they know that, and they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to guide you to, hey, you know, that's an interesting, you know, selection that you've just made there. They're going to get you to introspect on what they want to control you on. Oh, chronic lying. Yeah, I don't know anybody that doesn't have this. And it's not just like, oh, I drank the milk, and you ask them, did you finish the milk? And they say no. It is much more that the stories of their past, the stories of today, they could be leaving double lives. And I think that that is the most important thing to know, that these lies are not just like this. They're not like, oh, I walk the dog. These are little lies. Theirs are grand, crazy fucking lies. Sorry. Let's see. They live a parasitic existence. And that means that they're going to use people. They're going to use people along the way. And we know what parasitic means. They're just users. They don't care who they use. But they have stories of volunteering, military work, being a Boy Scout leader, volunteering, just being good people. So you look at them and go, oh my God, they do this for charity. They help, they run the Boy Scouts, they do all these things, but they're fake. They're telling you these things. If you have the feeling that something's not right, that is a red flag. And if you talk to them about it, which is kind of normal, you're like, hey, let me just talk to you about this. If you feel it's not right, and what they tell you kind of only makes sense to you, or you accept it without listening to your gut, start listening to your gut. Because when you feel that something's not right, it's there to protect you. Your inner being is telling you, listen. They can be incredibly intelligent because they have to manipulate this whole system. Imagine being the author of a script, and you tell this person this thing and that person the other thing. They may really appear to be quite intelligent, but in fact, they have no self-esteem and they're not good. They never apologize. Apologizing is something that is on the human spectrum. And unfortunately, they are not going to apologize. They may tiptoe around it, but they're not going to apologize. Triangulation is something that I know really well. This is a red flag, and what it means is that here's you, here's the ex-wife, them. And if they can keep you away by telling you the stories of the ex-wife being a psycho, then they've triangulated you so that it's you, them, and this other person. That now you're like, oh, well, I don't want to see this person. I don't want to meet this person because he's told me so many horrible things about what they've done. So they're triangulating you. Triangulation can also be where they become friends with one of your friends. And they're doing that to block you out of your security system, your people, and they don't even care about this person, but they're going to pretend. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is something that they do to make you think that you're crazy. Again, I used the example of the milk a few minutes ago, but it could be where you're like, I didn't finish the milk. And they're like, yes, you did. I didn't do it. Or they actually move things. It's based on a movie that was like, I think from the 40s, called Gaslighting. And the husband in that movie literally moved things around the house and would do things to make his wife feel crazy, because then you become more dependent on them. And that's the game with that. They are reckless and impulsive, and they have absolutely no regard for the law. They are above normal things, and they can't be bothered with little things, and that could mean paying taxes. That could mean that they don't feel that they're, you know, responsible and have to do things that, like, they might drive crazy. They might do things that are really crazy, impulsive, and that's just a flag. Overdependence on a partner, and you know, this might seem like it's a little thing, but in actuality, what they're doing is they're using you. So of course they're overdependent because they can't do their taxes, they can't pay bills, they don't remember it's garbage day, whatever it is, they become dependent on you. They know it's garbage day, but if they pretend it, then they get you to do more things. So overdependence on their partner is something that is a red flag. It's not normal. Couples share and do equal work and work it out. What do you like to do? What do you like to do? And then they figure it out. If you're dealing with a male narcissist, they very often have opinions about women as a whole. And I think, again, that's not always the truth. But if you catch a glimpse of it, I think that is a red flag. They know it all. Right? That's just the fact. They know it all. And you can't tell them anything because they're right. They know. They'll start with insults and put downs. And insults and put downs are in the devalue state, and they are trying to put you down. They may be subtle about it, they may not be. And I've heard the spectrum on that too, that people can be so hurtful. You might wonder if you are going to be in danger. If you have any question of your own safety, this is not a red flag that you want to ignore. The statistics on domestic abuse and murders from intimate partners are crazy. I mean, you have more of a chance of being murdered by somebody that you're intimate with than you would in a plane crash, car accidents, being killed by, you know, mass murders and things like that that we all fear. Those little mosquitoes that are buzzing around, chances are you'll be killed by your spouse or your boyfriend before you get the Vinca virus. Just saying, you know, it's crazy. They always seem to get what they want, no matter what it is. They want to go to Australia. Somehow they find the money and they do it. They can't pay for other things, but they want it and they find a way. Blah. You may find that your friends either love them or hate them. I was really careful with 2X because I'd already been divorced. He had to go through a vetting process with all of my friends and family. And because of his charming personality, everyone loved him, everyone vetted. But there were a few that were very questionable about him. And 3X too. I would say I had 80% of my friends that really didn't like him and saw nothing that I saw in him, which is, they saw it before me, that's all. They didn't like the way he treated me. They didn't like the way he would come back like a bad penny. They didn't like anything about him. And then there were some people that thought he was great because he was triangulating with them and putting on his charming act and doing everything. Like, those were people that were hand-selected, that were going to be of value to him. The other people he didn't really care about impressing or being nice to your friends. Red flag. Just addictions. I heard this one today too, and at first I have thought this was addictions to alcohol, drugs, and I'm not saying that they don't have that addiction or there's not a possibility of that, but what they are addicted to is this narcissistic supply, this source, this need to constantly have this ever-changing source that they can milk. And so that is an addiction. That is something, it's like a sexual addict. There's so many parts of it that could be part of their addiction. So it doesn't have to be drugs, it doesn't have to be alcohol, although from what I understand, there's quite a bit of alcohol abuse that is common. This is a red flag, but it's, I think, again, it's sort of a behavior, and it is called managing down your expectations. This is where, towards the end, you know, the whole I'm not going to text 100 times, but I don't want to be in a relationship right now, or they will try to set your expectations to a different lower place, because if they manage it, then somehow they don't feel guilty when they're assholes. They are going to lay guilt trips on you, and they are going to use their children. They have nothing, no feelings generally for their children. They're just a pawn to get back at the last supply, the children's mother. It's probably the most pathetic of all of them, but it makes sense. They have no empathy, and so that's another red flag. That's pretty much the list of red flags, and there's lots of videos on each one of these, so, you know, please stay tuned or subscribe. I'll have more videos out that are going to talk about specific red flags, but Dana from the Thrive After Abuse channel has a red flag on every single thing, and she's really good at it. So if you are looking for a little bit more explanation, we have this thing called YouTube. Thanks.